Welcome to another St. Pete by Night revamped production. The following is rated for mature audiences and may contain graphic themes that will be distressing to some viewers. As always, we recommend you ensure the safety and well-being of yourself and those around you at all times. Viewer discretion is advised.
In the heart of night, we rise from shadows, howling at the moon, igniting our battles, cleansing Gaia of an endless fight, until our final days we will fight. Thanks, man, we stand united as one. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the brave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take our final stand. Everywhere we run, the wind is at our back. All the warm forces we will track. From the depths of the ocean to the clouds in the sky, vampires tremble as we learn to fight. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the brave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take our final stand. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Everywhere with the pack, let the night be our guide. In battles of honor, we shall never hide. Rock will never hide.
Good evening and welcome to the St. Pete by Night Entertainment Network. St. Petersburg by Night is an online World of Darkness role-playing community originated in St. Petersburg, Florida. My name is Kent, also known as Misha Kent on all social media, and I will be your storyteller tonight. It's Tuesday night, and you know what that means. It's time for Rage Across Tampa, our Werewolf the Apocalypse 5th edition chronicle, where the Sept of the Evening Star attempts to combat the forces of the worm, both physical and spiritual, while also trying to maintain their sanity when dealing with all of the moving pieces that is the Tampa Bay area. But before we get to all of that, I want to encourage you all to go follow St. Pete by Night on all of that social media you see listed down below and in the description. And why not come join our community with over 200 plus members? You could be one of them and discussing the amazing World of Darkness as a whole, as we have started a new segment, the World of Darkness Question of the Day. So get in there, get chatting, and who knows, maybe you could find yourself at one of our tables where we are offering 20th anniversary, 5th edition, and Chronicles of Darkness campaigns, hopefully starting regularly as soon as we can get some people in who are willing to run them. But that being said, we have another very, very special announcement to make, and I'm going to go ahead and toss to that announcement now. You read that right. We are now offering auditions to join our Tampaverse community. So apply now and join our Discord and get involved. And who knows, maybe you'll see your lovely face along with the faces of these lovely players that make Rage Across Tampa happen. So players, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Hi, everybody. I'm Champ, Champagne, Bambi, whatever you want to call me, and I will be playing Aspen Wise, Philodox of the Silverfangs.
Hi everybody, I'm Nori. I will be playing Malicious Jester, the Galliard of the Black Furies.
Hey everyone, my name's Preston. I play Jason Dreams Decay Thorn, Theurge of the Bone Gnar.
So, players, before we were so rudely interrupted by a spectrum of internet problems, we were in the middle of the raid on Gatorland. But before we get to all of that, let's go ahead and get everyone caught up on what happened last week. First off, Aspen sought the advice and guidance of her patron spirit Falcon, although knowing the bird spirits of the Umbra, they can be very evasive, but I do believe she walked away with at least a little bit of insight for the future. Then Jace had a conversation with Artie, trying to gather more intelligence about what had happened to the missing individuals, as well as just catching up, getting a little bit of Ragabash wisdom of his own. However, is Artie in the state of mind to offer that wisdom? We'll see. It's kind of here or there. And then finally, Jester went to She Who Shines to get a little bit of clarification from the Mokale about what this mission to Gatorland truly entailed. And then the pack went to Gatorland, and everything seemed to be going well. They even got so far as to breaking into the pen of the American alligators, where they found the targets, their quarry, these hyper-intelligent alligators that seemed to be very aware of the goings-on around them. They broke in, began to sneak the gators out when everything started to go the way these things often go, which is pear-shaped. Aspen and Jace were confronted by the security guard that they had been trying so desperately to avoid, with 8 alligators in tow. And meanwhile, Jester and Charles had found themselves in another alligator pen, preparing to do battle with a leech that seemed to be haunting or inhabiting these particular grounds. In fact, as Jester went to investigate, the leech sprung up out of the water, trying to grab her and drag her in, but it had missed. So, why don't we pick up exactly where we left off? So, why don't we start with Aspen and Jace? The two of you have made your way back out onto the concrete pathway with the 8 alligators in tow, the hyper-intelligent alligators that you had been sent to find by She Who Shines. As you were sneaking out through the doorway, Jace, you are feeling a particular roiling in your stomach and in your chest as you had fallen to a compulsion of culling the weak. And right now, the weak seems to be this particular security guard in the situation. So as you stepped out onto the pathway, a flashlight came to illuminate the two of you as well as all of the gators. And in a standoff, this is where our scene begins. What would the two of you like to do?
Is this still considered the same scene? So would I still have Mind Speak activated, or would I need to reuse a willpower? Okay.
I think you can consider it still activated. It was beyond our control that everything went bad last week.
Just wanted to clarify. To Aspen, while looking at the guard, I say we got 2 options. We can try talking our way out, or we can just remove the person altogether.
I think talking is beyond us.
Okay.
At this point, the security guard calls out, "What the fuck? What are you doing here? Stay right there."
Gonna run at him.
Okay.
I'm gonna attempt to hold him, so that way Aspen would have an easier chance, but just grappling.
Okay, give me a strength and brawl.
I am angrily and exasperatedly going to shift into Glabro once more, and try and choke him to sleep.
And how many times have you shifted in this scene?
Twice.
So as you go to shift into the larger Glabro form once more, you find a pain start to rip through your body. It's not enough to stop you from shifting, but it definitely doesn't feel great, as your body is only meant to make so many transitions. It's only capable of making so many transitions despite your supernatural nature. So as you shift into the larger form, go ahead and take a point of aggravated damage for me as your muscles tear and your flesh starts to strain against the transition. But you do make the change. How'd the rage check go?
I succeeded. I did want to ask, because it hurt me, do I gain a rage?
I'll give you the point of rage. Sure. Yeah,
Okay.
That and the intensity of the situation and everything all combined is enough to get you to, gain another point of rage. Jace, what'd you get on that strength and brawl check?
3.
Okay. As you rush towards the guard and leap, they quickly, somehow, almost supernaturally quickly, sidestep out of the way and bring down the flashlight on the back of your head, doing 2 points of superficial damage as they clock you from behind. Declare your next intentions.
Noticing that they were able to move as quickly as they did, I'm also going to go into Glabro.
Okay.
Rage is good.
So as you kind of stumble your way past them, feeling the anger building up inside you, go ahead and take a point of rage as well as you begin your transition into your almost demi-human form, filling out your clothing and growing in size. The individual, the guard, quickly reaches up to their radio and says, "We've got company." At which point, further back in the plaza near the entryway, you hear doors fly open and footsteps come pounding out onto the pavement. Aspen, what's your intention?
Yes, I'm gonna go towards the original one that was there, and I'm just going to try and subdue it. So I'm gonna try and punch his lights out if I can.
Okay, give me a strength and brawl. And Jace, you've made your transition. Now anything you do will be at a -2 dice since you don't have rapid shift, therefore negating the bonus you would get from being in your Glabro form. But what would you like to do?
I'm going to attempt to grapple him again.
Okay, give me a strength and brawl.
2.
That's 5 for me.
Okay. So as Jace attempts to reach back towards him again, he gets another flashlight hit upside the head, doing another 2 points of superficial damage. But Aspen does manage to charge in and punch him directly in the face, causing him to go back, reeling a few steps as she breaks up the two of them, pushing them both apart. The sounds of the footsteps that are coming start to get louder as they are running full tilt down the sidewalk ahead. You've got this round, and then they should arrive. If you both want to roll me wits and awareness checks, you can go ahead and try to get an idea of what's coming. Jace, I will say, however, you are at a -1 on that awareness, as you are still seeing stars from the mag light you got upside the head twice now.
That's fair.
3 for me.
5.
Okay, despite your blurry vision, looking down the sidewalk in the ambient light of the many glowing light posts around, you can see 3 more silhouettes of individuals, all dressed in security guard uniforms, booking it down the walkway. Same with you, Aspen. You see the same thing. So, declare your intentions.
Real quick, with the wits and awareness that we did, do we see that the alligators are kind of staying back?
They do seem to be staying in their original location. They are not moving at the moment. They are watching with extreme interest in this situation. And maybe some hesitation as well. Okay. Aspen, what would you like to do?
I'm still
you have punched them and they're reeling back, but they're still standing.
I am gonna go full charge into them again and try and take them out of the equation.
Okay, Jace.
I'm gonna attempt to trip him.
Okay. Same thing, strength and brawl for both of you. Actually, I'll give you a dex and brawl on that one, Jace, since you're going to probably do a leg sweep.
Yep. Four.
7 with a crit.
Okay. So, Aspen, as you go full board, just diving onto them, Jace's leg sweep brings them down to the ground so that you have basically straddled and mounted on top of them and can start punching, and you land a solid blow to their face, causing blood to go spurting out of a broken nose and scattering across the sidewalk. Simultaneously, I'd like both of you to make dexterity and athletics checks as you hear the crack of what it sounds like firearms going off up the sidewalk.
Three.
All right, 2 successes for Aspen, 3 for Jace. Aspen, you feel a white hot pain cross your vision as a bullet strikes you in the shoulder. You only take 2 points of superficial damage, so it's not too bad, but it's definitely jarring as you haven't been shot in quite some time, and it's never a pleasant feeling, Guru or otherwise. Jace, you don't get hit. You see some of the concrete, though, break as a bullet strikes it very close to your location. At this point, the others arrive, entering into the fray and the situation. Declare your intentions.
So there's 3 of them all together.
There's 4 of them altogether. There were 3 more that arrived.
Gotcha. Okay. Can still use mind speak in any of the forms if I remember that right.
Yeah.
Yeah. To Aspen, if I promise not to kill them, can I start shooting? They've already started shooting at us. I think it's only fair.
I'm not gonna answer. I'm just gonna keep focusing on the guy.
Okay, then make your strength and brawl there, Aspen. Jace, what are you doing?
I pull out the pistol and attempt non-lethal, but at this point he doesn't really care too much.
Yeah, that's a little bit hard to control with a gun, but you can attempt it. You can try to aim for limbs. If you want to go for non-lethal, I will allow it. However, it is going to be a called shot, which will mean it's a -2. Otherwise, you can just let it fly where it flies.
Yeah, we only really need 1 to be able to talk afterwards. So for the time being, just let the bullets go.
Okay, then you can either do a dexterity or a composure and firearms.
With that 1 guard being down, is he more composed now and no more penalties because that 1 is taken care of?
Yeah. You're
Okay.
you're
That's
fine.
good. All right.
Yeah, you're good.
right, we'll do composure and firearms. 5.
Okay. And Aspen, what did you get on your strikes?
6.
Okay. As you continue, Aspen, to pummel the guard in front of you, you find that it only takes another shot before they have gone limp underneath your straddling form, and you can turn your attention towards the other guards that are approaching. Jace, remind me again what you got on that firearms?
5.
Okay. As you look towards the other guards, Aspen, you see one of them immediately go spinning and dropping to the ground as a gunshot rings off from right next to you as Jace shoots one of the guards, sending them dropping to the ground. Meanwhile, in the other pen nearby, Jester, this strange-looking red-eyed security guard leapt out of the water to try and grab you, but as it missed you with its claws, it then backed up, almost sprung back away from you further into the pond. You can still see it. It's not down in the water, but it has leapt back probably a good 10 or so yards back into the center of the pond, or into the center of the water, and seems to be snarling and preparing itself. As it does so, though, it starts making a clicking noise with its tongue. Roll me a wits and animal ken or awareness.
What's my rage at?
You're at a rage 3 right now.
Okay.
Which roll are you making, animal ken or awareness?
What's an awareness?
Okay.
5 successes with a crit.
The other gators in the pond that had been previously backing away, kind of giving a nice ring or perimeter, have now started to turn. Having looked at the individual in the center of the pond, their heads twitch slightly to the sound of the clicking coming from the individual, and now they have turned their focus laser sighted on you. And the gators start to advance, moving forward, prowling across the cement and the grass, their jaws starting to open as they hiss and begin to advance. Declare your intention.
Have I heard the shout or gunshots at all?
Not at
yet?
the exact moment. I'm going to give you a couple of rounds before that happens.
Okay. He's 10 feet in the water?
He was 10 yards, so 30 feet.
Okay.
In fact, you can see that some of the gators that had previously been on the outskirts have actually moved into the water as well to cross the pond to get to you.
Yeah, okay. Shit. Just gonna look at the leech in the water and the gators coming. Kind of just give a huff, and then I'm going to shift into Krynos.
Okay,
This
go ahead
is
and
also going to be my 3rd shift, so
okay, make the 2 rage checks.
good on the rage checks.
As you make the shift, it is a very strong transition going from Hamid into Krynos form. So taking the large, massive war form. Oh, you were in Glabro?
I was in Hispo.
Oh, you were in Hispo. Okay, so still a big transition as you
Yeah.
go back up on your hind paws, standing to your full height. the muscles bulging and growing even more so. Take a point of aggravated damage as you make your third shift of the scene. The strain on your body so severe. But you may still declare your intention with the -2 due to the transition.
What else is around in this enclosure? Is it just swamp and
Yeah, I mean, there's some wooden platforms. There's a lot of, like, almost the entire pond is surrounded by a concrete bowl, as it's a man-made pond. It's
Okay.
not natural, but there are, some features like some fallen logs meant to give it a more nature-based feeling. But what else are you looking for?
I'm just gonna pick up a fallen log and throw it at the vampire.
Okay, go ahead and give me a dexterity and athletics.
Three successes.
Okay. As you lift up the log and toss it across the pond towards the leech, you see them drop below the surface of the water, allowing the log to sail overhead and splash in the pond beyond before they pop up again out of the water. Meanwhile, Charles, still in his hispo form, lets out a antagonizing snarl as he looks at the other gators that are starting to move their way in, hissing and snapping in both of your general direction. He lunges forward and bats with a paw at one of the gators, smacking them upside the side of their snout, causing them to back up quickly, giving off a defensive and surprised kind of hiss and yelp, as much of a yelp that a gator can make as they back up, having now a bit of blood coming from a paw mark across their snout. What's your next intention?
Well, I gotta spend a willpower to stay in Krynos since I didn't actually hit anything. I'm gonna pounce him. I'm just gonna, like, try to. He's like 30 feet.
And he's in the middle of water, too. He's probably at about waist to mid-chest deep water. If you had something like Hair's Leap, you could probably make the distance pretty quickly, but because you're running through water, it is going to cause a little bit of resistance.
Right. I will run through the water. I'm not gonna pounce him. I'm just gonna run through to try to get to him and hit him.
Okay. As you jump into the water and start to wade your way through, give me a dexterity and athletics as one of the gators that has entered the pond makes a sudden lurch towards you, going to snap at you.
Oh, hey. 6 successes with a crit.
Okay. Easily enough, you manage to avoid the charging gator, even possibly deflecting it away with your large Krynos arm, causing it to push off into the water. Go ahead and take a point of willpower damage, as you have not done damage to anything yet, and you are still in your Krynos form to maintain the form. I would say at this point you get up to but aren't able to attack the leech just yet. You're crossing the distance nicely, but the gator kind of distracted you from being able to make any kind of attack at the particular moment.
Okay.
At this point, you hear another massive splash from off the side of the pool as Charles bites down into the tails of one of the gators and literally throws it with a massive clench of his jaws, throwing it by the tail, where it goes careening off to another side of the pond and splashes back down into the pond. At this point, roll me a wits and awareness.
I got a brutal outcome.
Okay, you are too focused on the fight to even hear the gunshots that go off outside of the pen, with the splashing and the hissing and all of the massive amount of activity going on right now. Give me take another point of rage, as you are now solely focused on the leech in front of you, and you will do nothing else until they are destroyed.
Cool. Right now in my head, there's a monologue of just rage of having to like slosh out in the middle of the swamp just to get to this leech. And why couldn't this whole mission just be easy? It's been a pain in the ass the entire time. Like, it's just all of this as I'm going to like tear into this leech.
Okay, go ahead and give me a strength and brawl.
You know what? I'm gonna activate. Can I activate Raging Strike?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I made my rage check. I got 6 successes.
Okay. Your massive arms and claws, you reach across into the murky water, going to attack the leech that is in front of you. You're using claws for this attack?
Yes.
Okay. You do make contact with your first strike, causing claws to tear into the flesh, ripping some of the wet security guard uniform on his body and causing a raked wound to appear on their chest. It doesn't well up or bleed, as most wounds are expected to do, other than the initial contact that does cause some tearing across the flesh. Meanwhile, back on the sidewalk, Aspen, you have securely knocked out the guard that you had straddled. There are 3 more guards nearby, although one of them has dropped to the ground after being shot by Jace. Jace, you did make a very good shot. You probably hit them in the hip or a little bit higher on the chest. They are down and neutralized, at least for the moment. Declare your intentions, both of you.
Okay, so a couple questions. Can we see what's happening with Charles and Jester?
I would say no, they are in a pen nearby. You can try and make a wits and awareness to hear what's going on in that pen, but with the sound of shouting and gunfire, you are going to have a high difficulty on that.
It wouldn't matter because Fangs of Judgment need sight, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, with the railing and everything of that pen, it's a little bit harder to see inside and tell what's going on. Plus, there's not a lot of light in the pen itself. It's actually quite dark in there, so yeah, you can't tell at the moment.
Okay. Other question would be, does that person that went down, does it look like Jace may have shot carefully, or does it look like he shot to kill?
You can't tell. There's too much going on to be able to tell one way or another what the intention or purpose was of the shot.
Okay, then if that's the case, then I'm going to go for one of the other 2. Whatever's closest.
Okay, so springing off of the form, go ahead and make me a strength and brawl. Jace, what's your intention?
Seeing which direction Aspen's going to fire at the one adjacent to the other guy.
Okay, give me another dexterity in firearms, or composure in firearms.
6.
burn a will?
Yeah, go ahead.
That's 4 with a crit.
Okay. Aspen, as you leap off of the guard that you have already downed, you easily tackle another as he tries to bring his gun to point at you. It goes flying out of his hands as you have basically speared him, tackling him in the midsection and bringing him down to the pavement as well. You can hear a wet thud or almost like a crack as his head hits the pavement, being driven to the ground. He is dazed. He is not knocked completely unconscious, but he is down for the moment, and you do have him tackled as well. Jace, as you bring your gun to bear on the other one, this one isn't as successful of a shot, but it does manage to strike him hard enough to cause him to drop his gun as well, sending him kind of backwards as the bullet nicks his arm, causing a pretty good wound in his arm, not burying itself into it though. Next intentions.
Make sure this guy's knocked out completely.
Okay, so give me another strength and brawl as you go to grab him by the sides of the head and drive him back down into the pavement once more. Jace.
This one I will do a called shot. I'm going to try and shoot him in the knee to try and immobilize him.
Okay, give me a composure and firearms, but it's going to be at a -2 since you are going for a very specific location.
3.
Okay.
4 for me.
All right, Aspen, as you grab him and attempt to smash his head into the pavement, he does reach up and grab your wrists and is able to minimalize the blow. You do kind of knock him backwards, but he is not knocked unconscious as quickly as the other one was. He did manage to fight back a little bit and stop you from being able to drive him with the same amount of force as you had previously. Jace, what did you get?
3.
3 successes. Okay, as you go to fire on his knee specifically, you do hit the leg, but not exactly the knee, causing a gout of blood to go spouting out of the side of his leg, as it seems like you've hit his calf more than his knee. It does cause him to buckle a little bit and drop to one knee. He meanwhile reaches out to grab the gun he has lost and bring it up to fire again. We return to the swamp and the alligator pen. Jester, you are right up on the leech. Charles seems to be focused primarily on the several gators that have come to advance, attempting to push them back, intimidate them, or if he has to, manhandle them. What's your intention?
Honestly, I'm gonna try to get a good grip on the leech, dig my claws into him in a grip.
Okay, give me another strength and brawl.
Leave it. I got 4 successes.
Okay. As you attempt to bury your claws into the leech, they bring a clawed hand of their own across your snout and face, scratching basically over your eyes and snout. Not enough to blind you, not enough to do any significant amount of damage, but you do take 1 superficial damage as the claws rake across your face and they push themselves back, giving a little bit more distance again. Next round, declare your intentions. Oh, I should say also, back behind you, Charles pounces on top of one of the other gators, biting down into their shoulder or, clawed arm, giving them another like hissing whining as they quickly shake him off and back up, trying to retreat away from the fight.
Did I take a rage for taking damage?
Yeah.
Okay.
That'll put you at
rage.
5, yeah.
I know. That's why I was keeping up with it. I am pursuing and just trying to rip into him, claws, fangs, whatever I can get at this point. And I will be using Raging Strike.
Okay, give me another strength and brawl.
All right. And of course, I make my rage check. I got 4 successes again.
Okay. As you pursue the vampire in the water, attempting to snap out with your teeth and grab with your arms, the leech catches your arms and then suplexes you behind them into the water, just grabbing and lifting you up, even in your massive war form, and smashing you into the water behind them. Go ahead and take another 2 points of superficial damage as you are brought down into the water. He doesn't, however, let go and holds you underneath the water.
Okay.
Give me before that, give me a stamina and resolve check as you now have to hold your breath unexpectedly in the water.
Okay. I got 4 successes.
Okay, you are good for the moment. It is going to get more difficult the longer you stay underwater, but for the moment, you have breath still in your lungs. The wind wasn't completely knocked out of you by the sudden motion. What's your intention?
So I'm on my back, basically?
Yeah,
under the water?
basically you were brought over, ass over elbows, into the water, and you are currently on your back. They have flipped over on top of you and are holding you down into the water.
Okay. Holding my breath now. So I'm going to... I'm gonna attempt to, honestly, like, flip him over, so
Okay.
that, I'm on top.
All right, same check, strength and brawl.
I'm also healing, by the way.
Yeah. Make the rage check to regenerate.
Make the rage check. Too many dice. Too much math. I must spend a willpower. 7 successes.
Okay. As you're feeling yourself pinned beneath the water, you manage to push a leg off of the bottom of the concrete pool, spinning him over and bringing him down into the water as well, taking some of that pressure off of your shoulders, holding you beneath the water. As you reverse the hold, bringing him down into the water this time, pinning him with your massive muscular warform arms. Meanwhile, out on the sidewalk, two of them are down. One of them is grappled by Aspen. The other is reeling from being shot by Jace. However, they are lifting up their gun to fire at Jace. What are your intentions?
Still gonna try and knock this guy out.
Okay, give me another strength of brawl. Jace.
How far is this guy from me right now?
Say maybe 15, 20 feet.
To run up and hit him with the gun, would that be considered melee?
That would be melee. It is a weapon. Be like the same as using a club or bat or something
Fair.
like that.
Then never mind. I'm gonna just shoot him again.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a composure and firearms or dexterity and firearms.
I'm gonna burn another will.
Okay.
5 from me, just so you know.
2.
All right. So, Aspen, you are locked up with this guy, just trying to smash his head into the pavement. This time, you do get a little bit more force as you hit him into the ground. He is still conscious and still fighting you, just barely. He has gotten a lot weaker in his grasp after this latest thud against the pavement, but he is still holding on to you. Jace, it's your turn to feel that burning, painful sensation as a bullet hits you, causing you to stumble backwards a bit. Go ahead and take 3 points of superficial damage as the bullet burns into your form. Next round, what's your intentions?
I'm going to heal a superficial, and I lost a rage, so I'm at 2. And then I'm just gonna try and get this guy down.
Another strength of brawl. Jace.
I'm also going to heal.
Okay.
Rage is good. And then attempt to shoot him again.
Okay. You feel your wounds starting to close, both of you, from the exertion. Jace, you actually feel the bullet slowly pushing its way out of your shoulder slowly.
Four.
4, okay. And Aspen.
5 from me.
Aspen, one last thud is enough to do it. You feel their grip weaken as you smash them into the pavement. Now there are cracks literally forming in the sidewalk around you. But with this last push, his head hits the pavement once more. There is a good sticky amount of blood from behind his head where it hit the pavement, but he loses consciousness as you smack him against the ground one final time. Sorry, Jace, what'd you get? 4. Okay. Another shot hits the individual, causing them to now also drop to the ground as they have been knocked backwards by the last shot. For the moment, combat is halted. Both of you go ahead and make a wits and awareness check for me.
Six.
Hey, Aspen, as you're focused on the individual you've just downed and are trying to take surveillance of the situation, your adrenaline, your heart pounding against your chest, the kind of lightheaded feeling you're getting from all of this action, all of this physical conflict, which is so unusual for you, causes you not to really be aware of anything else going on around you. But Jace, you hear the sounds of snarling and snapping and splashing coming from the pen opposite the one you just entered from.
While walking over to Aspen, can I heal another soup real quick?
Yeah.
Wait. All right, I lose a rage.
All right. But you do still heal. You feel the bullet push the rest of the way out, clinking to the ground next to you.
Get up next to Aspen. Sounds like a good chunk of more fighting over there. I'm okay with just hanging out here if you want, and then we can keep an eye on these guys or try and get the gators out.
How close is the utility shed?
The one you just came from? Like
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, the entryway to the shed is probably 20, or to that alley is about 20 or 30 feet. And then the shed's another like 10 or so feet in.
Take care of the people, and I'm gonna head towards where the sound's coming from.
Okay. Meanwhile, over in the pen, Jester, you have reversed the grapple that the leech had on you, and you have now splashed them underwater. Based off of the way they are still lashing against you, being underwater doesn't seem to be a problem for them whatsoever. What's your intention?
So I'm gonna suck in a breath and hold my lungs as I rear back, and I'm going to bite into him.
Okay. Give me a strength and brawl. In fact, I'll give you an additional dice because you do have the leverage over them. So yeah, give it a shot.
I'm also spending Raging Strike.
Okay.
Oh my god. I made it again. I'm trying to get rid of my rage. Ten successes.
Okay. As your muzzle plunges into the dark, murky water, you find your jaws latching on to the head of the leech. Give me one strength and athletics check as well.
That is a brutal.
And
with 4 successes on top of it.
with the tearing and rending, you pull back out of the water, and in doing so also bring the head of the leech out with you in between your jaws as the leech dies very quickly, as you have decapitated them and yanked their head out of the water. Meanwhile, behind you, you hear still some snapping and snarling as Charles continues to fend off the other gators. But as soon as you dispatch the leech, the gators kind of come to out of a daze, snapping back to the situation and very quickly start retreating away from Charles, moving back to the corners and edges of the pool. At this point, Aspen, go ahead and make me a strength and athletics check as you are going to vault the wall of the pen to jump in.
Four.
Yeah, you're able to climb over the fence and drop in beyond. You see gators moving away from the hispo form of Charles. There's a little bit of blood around Charles's snout and some on his fur, as it looks like he has been bit at least once on his back hind leg, but it is starting to heal up very quickly. In the pool, you see Krynos form Jester with a head in her mouth as she has something pinned beneath the water. But at this point, combat ends as you have successfully defeated the leech and the security guards. The scene is yours.
A grimace over at Jester with the head in her mouth.
I'm going to spit the head out very angrily. And probably just shift back into Hamid.
Okay.
Exhausted and in pain at the end.
All right, take one more point of aggravated damage as you do shift into another form. Your bones starting to feel very strained and in pain as you move back into your normal size.
Clumsily, tiredly climb or walk out of the swamp. Trudge out, really.
Is the body still within the swampy area, or is it?
Yeah, it's still in the water. Yeah. In fact, it's starting to float up to the surface at this point.
Okay, I'm gonna look over to Charles. Still in his hispo? Yes.
Yeah.
Got to take care of that body.
He nods and he starts to move out into the water, wading in his large hispo form.
Then she'll look over to Jester. We've got about 4 others out there that we need to take care of as well.
Leeches?
Not sure.
Okay.
As the two of you move to leave the enclosure, Charles has reached the body of the leech that is floating in the water, and he uses his paws to dig into the form and starts to tear the limbs off of the body with his teeth, tossing them to the side of the pool. As you climb out of the enclosure, what have you been doing, Jace, during this time?
Still in Glabro, pulling the bodies over to the utility closet or shed and stacking them in the best he can, and trying to keep an eye on the gators that are there to make sure they don't go wandering off.
They seem to be held in place, just watching the events unfold. Their various snouts tracking you almost simultaneously, just watching as everything happens. The two of you climb out and see Jace is in the process of hauling another one of the bodies. I would say he's gotten one in already and is dragging the second towards the utility shed.
How'd it go? Looking over towards Jester as he's pulling the body.
It's dead. So are we taking these bodies with us?
Can I kind of scan over the bodies and make sure they're all just unconscious and not dead?
Sure, give me a wits and medicine.
Three.
None of them are dead, but two of them, the ones that have been shot, if they aren't seen to, will probably bleed out. Especially the first one that took the majority of the shot.
Definitely human, right?
Yeah. Yeah, all 4 of them are human. Well, human, I'll say in finger quotes.
We've got to kind of side-eye Jace. We've got to get some of them medical attention if we don't want them dying here.
Their first aid kit nearby.
Give me, well, yeah, I'll say there's one in the utility shed, probably.
You'll grab first aid kit. I have a basic understanding of how to do this, or are you suggesting we take him to like a hospital?
Look over to Jester. Think we could just drop him off to Ivy?
Yeah. She'll reach in her pocket and then be like, check to see how wet her phone is, and then be like, shit. Well, yes, probably. If you have a phone I can borrow.
Is my phone also wet? Or is all of our phones wet?
Yeah, everybody who went into water, they're probably wet, yeah.
Just got this.
They will work again. They're not completely useless, but they're probably going to need the bowl of rice treatment or some time to dry out before they'll be usable again.
Well, probably we can drop him off. Just need to send her a message.
I think Jace and I can do that if you want to get the gators out of here and somewhere safe with Charles.
Okay.
Speaking of Charles, about 5 minutes later, he, in his Hamid form, climbs over the enclosure fence and drops down. The leech has been taken care of.
Good. We need to get these bodies, these people, we need to get them medical attention. And we need to get the gators out of here. So we're, with no phones, trying to figure out how to get that done.
He looks over the scene, looking at the blood on the concrete. It's possible, but it'll take time, and they have a story to tell.
Were any of the guards the one we saw at the when we were investigating before?
Yes.
Okay. That one's a ghoul at least.
Yeah, but are all of them?
I mean, we all have an ability to smell them and tell.
Look over to Jace.
Give a nice deep inhale. Try to figure out what they are.
Give me a sense the true form roll.
Gonna burn another will. Another 4.
They are all ghouls. As you pick up the scent.
Take a nice deep breath in. Now these all have that rot to them.
There's another solution. I'm not sure you're going to like it.
Feed them to the gators.
No, that would still potentially leave evidence. Paul Bateman. Tell him this is his mess to clean up. It's as bad for them as it is for us.
She'll stare at Charles for probably way too long. Fine.
Or we take care of them ourselves. Bury them somewhere off property.
I don't know if we should trust that he won't twist this some way and make it our problem either way.
Could. But if anybody can convince him not to, it's you.
Another option. And the one who, she who shines, she might want to do something with him. Have someone else take care of the problem. Third party it in a way.
That is a possibility. If you wanted them to disappear, taking them to the swamp would help.
Still doesn't account for taking care of the scene. She points to the blood.
I'm pretty sure we could clean that up if we wanted to take the time to do so, at least enough that it'll do.
I think we take him to She Who Shines. I think if we do that, it's retribution, it's whatever justice she sees fit. And also, we take care of it and we take Bateman out of the equation.
It's a good choice. I was hesitant to suggest it, but might as well make use of this treaty as best as possible.
I'm not one for racking up debt, though.
Fair. Very well. We'll take them with us. Let the dragon deal with it. As the group of you gather up the bodies once more, Jace having to drag the one he'd already stowed away back out again. Charles goes and grabs a hose out of the utility closet and moves to the sidewalk, spraying down the blood, pushing it towards a sewer grate. And you all load up into the vehicle. Who is going to try and encourage the gators to move towards the trailer that you have parked out front?
I will.
Okay, give me a charisma and animal can. Or manipulation.
As we're walking out, I would like to just do a little howl and do howl of assembly to help people with their willpower.
Okay. And that gives everybody how much willpower back?
So it is a honor and charisma roll at a difficulty 2, and every margin over it expands the hearing of it, but it gives everybody a willpower back.
Okay, go ahead and make the roll. It's a very low difficulty. Just beat the 2 and that's enough. They're all nearby.
While cleaning, we'll
Easy.
pick up the bullet casing.
Okay.
Make
give
sure they're
me
not left behind.
either wits and larceny or wits and investigation to try and make sure you get everything.
Do wits and investigation.
What'd you get, Aspen?
I got 4.
Okay, everybody gains a willpower back. Jester, what did you get to coax the gators forward?
I got 3 successes.
Okay. They are hesitant at first, but with the time given, as you have spent about the next hour cleaning up the scene, making sure that the bodies are loaded, they do slowly make their way out towards the trailer and climb in. Jace, what did you get?
3.
You're pretty confident that you've done a thorough job cleaning up, making sure to grab guns, bullet casings, even bullets if you can find them, the one that especially fell out of your body, making sure to clean all that up. By the time all is said and done, you all feel that the scene is as secured as it's going to be, although when morning staff come in, they are going to probably be confused as to why the night staff isn't there, especially with their vehicles still parked outside. With the gators loaded up, you climb into the vehicle and begin the drive to She Who Shines. By the time you arrive at the swamp, dawn has started to break. The first lights of the morning sun are edging the horizon, sending a nice colorful glow of purples and oranges, but still a lot of the sky is dark behind you over to the west. As you bring the truck up to the security gate that blocks off Whedon Island and the park beyond, you find that the gate itself is locked and isn't opening at the moment. What would you like to do?
Can I see any of anything through the gate, like any movement?
Give me a wits and awareness.
Two successes.
At first, you don't see any movement beyond on the driveway that leads into the parking lots. But after maybe 5 or so minutes of looking, you hear some of the nearby shrubbery get disturbed, like the snapping of twigs, the rustling of leaves, and you see one of the gators crawl out from the undergrowth and look up towards all of you beyond the fence. It then lets out like a rattling noise. Give me a intelligence an animal can.
Ugh, I'm gonna spend a willpower. 2 successes.
There are breaks in the kind of like rattling noise as if it's talking or trying to relay something, but you're not entirely sure what it's trying to say.
Hey, does anybody speak Gator?
No. Speak a little skink, but I don't think that's going to apply here.
Could I do like a intelligence and insight to try and like figure out what they're trying to say? Okay. 4.
Okay. You can tell that the gator is starting to get frustrated after not being understood, but it starts again making this like type noise with breaks in between. And as it does so, you can tell that the number of clicks or rattles that it makes changes with each break. The first one, there's 6. The second one, there's 4. The third one, there's 3. And then there's 1.
Six, 4, 3, 1. I try to put it in the lock. Is there a code on the lock?
There is a punch pad near the gateway, and as you put in 6, 4, 3, 1, you start hearing the grinding of motors as the gate starts to open.
I guess I speak Gator, and I'll walk in.
Glad
get
somebody
back.
does.
Into the vehicle, driving it into the park itself. You take the trailer and the vehicle as far back into the park as you can. Jester, you and Charles both know how to get as close to She Who Shines as possible, but as you enter into the farthest parking lot, the headlights sweeping across the trees and grass, in amidst the trees, you see the woman, She Who Shines, her very, very dark skin, at first very easy to miss, but as the headlights illuminate her, you can see her standing amidst the trees, another gator by her feet, one of the two, the other one being back at the front gate.
As soon as we stop, I will hop out and move towards the back of the truck.
Okay. As you move towards the back, undoing the latch and lock that hold the trailer closed, as soon as the gate opens or the door opens, the gators warily stick their noses out and start to slowly climb out of the trailer. As soon as She Who Shines sees them starting to exit the trailer, she lets out a soft hissing noise from her teeth, and the gators look over in her direction and begin to crawl over in that direction. She Who Shines steps out of the trees, entering into the parking lot. She looks to Jester. Is this all?
Yes. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to ask the other gators, and they didn't seem very keen on interacting with us. There was a leech there. I guess it set up its territory there, feeding off other gators.
As
We
you
had to
say
kill it.
that, her lips curl back from her teeth, and you can see that she has pointed teeth in her mouth as she lets out a slow, rattling snarl.
It's dead. However, it did have ghouls, which we brought in case you wanted to deal with them. They are wounded.
She nods and moves over towards the vehicle, looking upon the 4 still unconscious bound forms of the ghouls in the back. Give me a charisma and persuasion check.
Uh, 3 successes.
She stares at the forms for a moment before looking to you. Suppose it's the least I could do. We'll take care of it.
Excellent.
She opens the door and starts pulling the bodies out. And the gator that was with her walks up and grabs one by the foot and starts to pull it as it moves backwards towards the edge of the trees. Good work. Adequate work. I had hoped for better, but you did what was asked.
Thanks. I mean, no leech. Other gators won't be preyed upon, so, maybe it's a little more than adequate.
Suppose they are still confined, but that is a matter for another time. We can consider ourselves at peace.
Good. We'll look to Aspen.
I was hoping for a bit of a working piece. If
What kind of working piece?
our issues here have only gotten worse. It's Piney Point with what they're doing here, with what they're potentially could be doing right here in the swamp. I hope that I could call on you as an ally if needed.
Aspen, give me a charisma and persuasion.
Can I add my favor?
You can add your favor.
Can she add being pretty?
You can add being pretty, yes.
Hell yeah, that's so many dice. I'm so excited. Okay. That is 8 with a crit.
She starts to consider before looking towards the gators that have crawled out of the trailer. She lets out another rattling throat call, as well as a hiss, and those gators begin to move towards the clearing, a couple of them stopping to also grab some of the unconscious individuals and drag them towards the edge. You surprise me. Everything I've known about the wolves says that any kind of working agreement is just an opportunity to stab us in the back. But that's not you, is it? You've assisted me twice. You've returned my family. You have purged my swamp. I will assist you. Tell me when and where.
I'll let you know as we get things in order. I appreciate it. And just because we've done these things for you doesn't mean we won't continue to help you if you're needing.
Surprisingly enough, I believe that. But what will you do when the others come?
What others do you speak of? To be quite frank, there's a lot of others coming around here, so specifying is a little bit important.
Being the one to purge the disease only creates an opportunity for others to seek their claim. They may not think as you do, they may not believe as you do. What will you do when they come to take credit for what you've done?
We fight against them too. We stand for something here. And that doesn't always mean tooth and claw. Sometimes it does. But we stand for something here and we believe in it. So in whatever way we need to fight to keep that sanctity, we're going to do.
Even if they're your own.
Even if they're my own. The ideas, the old way of thinking needs to be purged. And that, as silly and as hope-filled as it sounds, that can start here, especially if they come here and try to stomp that out. We've seen a lot in the past 2 years. We're not stopping now, and we don't plan to for quite some time.
There are more of them.
For now, but things aren't so good for them.
All the more reason to want to seize what is good.
Well, we're also willing to protect what's ours. And if they refuse to understand that they've lost everything because the ways they've been doing things are fucked up, I guess that's a line drawn. Rather not see that line.
I say let them come. Let them see. And if they disagree, at least we're doing what we believe is right.
I have lived in peace here for a long time. I seek for that to continue. Anything that threatens it will be dealt with. I hope for your sake, you're right. For the others, history tells me of their ways, what they'll do, what they want.
And as an ally of us, we'll be here to protect it if that is the case.
I believe you. You have my gratitude for the work that you've done, for returning my family to me. And when the time comes, you call upon me, I will answer. This does not mean we are friends, but it's a start.
We grow on people.
That you do. She looks down to the last remaining unconscious guard and reaches and scoops them up onto her shoulder. Our business is concluded.
Thank you.
And you. She gives a dip of her head and then starts to turn and move back, taking the guard with her. You all have a few moments before climbing into the car. If there's anything you wish to say to one another.
I will say, for the most part, I'm so glad you deal with all of this, Jester.
I think you'd like her. She's very businesslike.
We already have one of those.
Charles rolls his eyes.
Yeah, fair. I see a bubble bath in my future.
As you all climb into the car, preparing to leave, as successful as this was, that good feeling that you have of triumph is shaken as soon as the screams start to erupt from the trees behind you. The sounds of flesh and bone tearing and breaking, surrounded by hisses. But the business is done, and at least that's something. And with that, we go to break. We'll be back in just a few minutes with the second half of tonight's story. Welcome back. In the first half, we saw the pack handle the Gatorland situation finally and return with the family of She Who Shines. Now, in the second half, we find ourselves at the apartment of Artie and Aspen. Jester, as you arrive, you see that a good deal of the apartment is packed up at this point. There are boxes stacked up off to one side, and aside from the furniture, there's very minimal decoration. In fact, a good amount of Artie's computer setup has been disassembled except for the bare necessities: 2 monitors, the computer itself, keyboard, mouse. As he welcomes you in, he gets you something to drink and goes and sits down at the computer desk, but instead of typing rapidly as he has been, he seems to have his attention fully focused on you, at least at first. So you can see that he is occasionally looking over his shoulder back at the monitors. Hey, so, been a while.
Hey? I guess it has, hasn't it? We kind of just fell off, didn't we?
It's a busy time, to say the very least.
Yeah. Look around. When are you guys moving into your new place?
Hopefully later this week. We got the lease agreement all signed. We're all set to go. We just got to make the actual move, which is the worst part of all this. But Aspen wanted to move closer to the Cairn, and it's about time, I think. How are you? How's things going? Give me the whole catch up. Did good at Gatorland.
Thanks. Yeah, so I guess that's one thing I can cross off the list, thank God. Pretty well, I guess. I mean, it's a given day whether or not Xander's gonna throw fits and sticks and boards and nails at me if he can't get the door on right of his treehouse.
When Aspen made you the emissary to the Pharaoh, I thought, there's no one better for the job. But then I thought, poor Jester, this is going to be awful. How are you dealing with all of it?
Are you therapizing me?
No, I'm a friend that's worried about you. You already had enough to deal with in the first place, and now you add this on top of it.
I mean, I chose it. So, it's okay. I mean, what's more frustrating is trying to figure out where this white bat is in Virginia. I feel like we might make a major breakthrough for him if we could just help this white bat that we think is the one that's screaming in his mind.
Okay, well, I tell you that there's a lot of factors to consider. I mean, we know he's from Virginia, and he turns back to his computer and brings up a driver's license photo of Alexander.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I did my thing with the Caern, touched a tree, got a story. Somewhere in the mountains in Virginia, I don't know which, I don't know where, there was an earthquake, and we think that either the white bat enclosed herself or is trapped in there, wherever this earthquake happened, because there was a cairn up there. I saw a Croatan who pretty much liked to stay in the cave and sculpt. Pretty sure they were a galliard, but they were there when the earthquake happened and there was a cave in. So we're looking at any space between 400 to what, 100, 200 years ago, maybe? I don't know. It
It's
was
a lot of ground to cover.
right. It was after they sealed the Eater of Souls, but there were still a few that existed. So I don't think it was that long after, but not a whole lot of newspapers there. I've been trying to find like newspaper archives to see if I could narrow down if there were any earthquakes in the close to the mountains of Virginia, because that probably would have been noticed. But searching from newspapers that are centuries old is
Well, if it
almost
was
impossible.
400 years ago, there
Yeah,
probably weren't any newspapers covering that particular area.
if there were, they weren't archived or kept. So
Well, let me see. He turns back to the computer and he starts typing, but after a moment, he starts rubbing his hands. Go ahead and give me a wits and insight.
three successes.
The way he's holding his hands, you can see that they're tremoring a little bit, like shaking slightly, and that he's rubbing his wrist and palms. And as you look over the tabletop, the desktop, you see a couple of empty monster cans sitting next to his monitors. He then reaches down into his pocket, pulls out something as his back's to you. Then a moment later, puts something in his mouth. He then takes a deep breath and then goes back to typing.
Sit there for a few minutes. Back to drinking monsters? Thought you switched to coffee.
Doesn't have the same kick that I need lately, but it's fine.
Monsters and caffeine pills?
He stops and then turns back to you. I know what you're going to say. You're not the first concerned look I've gotten. Just like you've got a lot going on, I've got a lot going on. And there's just too much to be done. But it's fine. It's temporary. Once this is all settled, once Piney Point is handled, everything can get back to normal as it can be for us.
There is a lot going on. What do you need help with?
Right now, it's cracking the code of a device that can, without doing much harm, coat an entire area with this concoction. A lot of technical stuff. Not to mention having a hard time getting too much of a paper trail out of Piney Point for Aspen. I mean, their security, their firewalls are intense, which definitely gives more credence to the whole pentex of it all, but I'm getting there. It's just a lot of coding and a lot of long nights of avoiding their cybersecurity. But enough about me and my big sexy problems. What about you? What do you need help with?
I'm good.
Really?
I'll move over, pull my laptop out of my bag, plug it in. Yeah. Why don't you let me help you with either cracking this code or coming up with this paper trail?
Oh, so you're a
I'm
hacker
here.
now too.
I know enough to help you out.
I think the most difficult part is just prioritizing it all. We've got so many things going on right now. I mean, I'm glad we can scratch the gators off of the list.
So what's most important? Or immediately important?
Say it's got to be Piney Point, right? Like that's the nerve epicenter of most of our problems.
Okay. So we start on that.
You've already got enough on your plate, Jess.
I just got something taken off.
Oh, good. So the other, 150 things you do every day can wait?
Some of it can.
What about that? The stuff that can't?
That could be reorganized.
What do you need help with, Jess? Came here, which don't get me wrong, I love it. I'm happy to see you.
Well, I mean, there was the Virginia thing, but I mean, that I probably figure out another way around that.
No, forget that. And he begins typing again.
I mean, there's literally a sept in Virginia the Josephs was a part of that I could probably reach out to. They may know something.
Maybe. At this point, he brings up a satellite mapping program like Google Earth. And he begins typing and zooming in on various parts of the mountains. And then he stops. He then types a little bit more and it brings up topography maps in one window, then population maps in another, then a kind of like a storm tracking or weather tracking app. And he starts zipping through, going back in time. He then brings up an archived map. You said an earthquake?
Yeah.
There aren't a lot of fault lines around here, but
See, that's why I thought it could have come up in some sort of newspaper, even maybe not one that was in close to a town that it was near, but
maybe it wasn't an earthquake, but a rock slide.
Maybe.
I mean, an earthquake is a pretty big deal. You're right. That should be documented, but those are more on the west coast of things, not over here. But if we look at this, and he starts highlighting certain areas along the mountain side, there are a number of rock slide patterns. Looks like areas where there's been a shift Now, there's a lot of caves in these mountains, and it's possible that some of them could be connected, but based off of what the story said, what you've said, this was meant to seal it off, to cut it off. But also, bats, spirits or otherwise, need certain conditions. So we can rule out some of these. And he starts kind of Xing off certain formations on the map. I think I can narrow this down for you at least a little bit more. He reaches over
Okay.
and grabs one of the cans and takes a sip of it. Give me like 24 hours and I'll see if I can get something to you.
Okay. You know, I can still help you out. Also, you are a genius. I didn't even think of half of that things. No wonder I was having trouble.
It's the way I help. Sometimes I feel like it's the only way I can help, but
What do you mean? It's just dumb.
well, I don't talk to spirits and I'm not much for the growly, bitey, fighty ways, and now we don't really have a need for moon bridges at the moment.
Do you think that's all you have to offer? Tech skills, information? Do you think that's all that's like worth it?
No. I know that I also
Deal
help
with
people,
everybody's shit?
those that'll talk to me about it.
From what I hear, that's a majority of people.
You'd be surprised.
May not be everybody, but it's a lot.
I just want to be useful. I want to be helpful. There's a lot to be done, and with the risk of infection and more people going missing, and I feel like we're on a time crunch, and there just aren't enough hours in the day sometimes.
I get it. I would say you're probably one of the most valued people in the Sept. You bring something that nobody else can bring.
I don't doubt that everybody cares about me, that everybody likes the things that I can do, and I know it's valuable. I just wish I could do more. That's all.
I think we both wish we could do more.
Yeah,
like
but
it's
you're
six.
actually doing it on your what? 4 hours of sleep a night? Is that what you're down to this point?
It's up to 6.
Oh, good.
I followed some advice and took some things away. Artie, you are doing those things. Maybe it's not physical, but quite literally, nobody can do this. I'll point to the computer. Nobody else can do what you do, and it's very much needed. You don't have to look to the cans. Push yourself too hard for that.
I've pushed myself much harder in the past. Don't worry, it's no big deal. I just wish I could get. He brings up what looks like blueprints. I wish I could get this to work. But the iron complicates everything. Even the shavings, even getting it down as fine as possible, gums up the works. There's no good way to distribute it. How have the bags worked?
Nah. Nah. Let me take that one. I know some people.
Oh,
The bikers.
hikers.
Remember how great they are setting explosives?
Can't blow
They
everything up.
build bikes. Or I could talk to Aspen and we could go talk to Spud.
We worked with leeches enough already.
At least this one didn't mentally turn my boyfriend into a spy.
No, this one is just slowly poisoning us one at a time.
Yeah, well.
If you want to take a shot at it, by all means, but I really do think there are other things you could be focusing on.
Will this help us at Piney Point?
I don't know. I hope so.
I mean, it might help with what I'm working on too, so.
I keep thinking if I can make something like a smoke bomb. You know, the kinds that, I don't know, can be used to distribute insect repellent, or the kinds that are used when they're breaching military raids, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I could
But-
do something like that, something that's not going to leave lasting damage.
I've also looked into weird, like low-key stuff like powder cannons that they used for baby gender reveals. Did you know
God.
they actually have extinguishers for that too? And it just releases the powder?
Can't remember when a gender reveal caused a wildfire that destroyed like hundreds of acres of forest.
Yeah, I do. Apparently this doesn't use like fire or flame stuff, so that's why I was looking at it. I don't know. But I could take it, I could take these and see if we could get another opinion or some other ideas. Instead of you driving yourself crazy on this along with everything else.
Well, that's not going to stop that, but sure, if you want to get a second opinion, by all means. Although, if it comes down to explosive, I think we should probably think elsewhere. We're trying
Well-
not to damage all of the afflicted areas.
Who are you talking to, boy?
I know.
And explosives won't work. Kind of stops that whole cold iron thing, the heat.
No. That's the problem, is I need something that will disperse it, but not taint it in the process, that won't melt it or overheat it or
I'll get some opinions. I'll bring them back to you. We'll see if we can figure something out.
okay. You know what I could really use?
If you say another monster, I will hit you.
No.
Softly.
I could use the laboratory at the university.
Yeah.
I know, wishful thinking, considering this truce and all, but they have a great robotics department. And I could just get my hands on some of that stuff. Maybe that would help solve some of the problems.
Like sneak you in at one point.
Maybe. I've tried to get into their databases, and there's a lot of good stuff there, but it's the equipment that I need, the actual physical equipment. A 3D printer isn't enough. It does help with some of the components, but it's not all of them. There are almost like these infuser cans. And I think that if I could manipulate it, that the iron gets infused right before it's dispersed. All the heating up that happens in advance won't affect the iron, and the iron won't make contact with the heat long enough for it to be fucked with.
Mhm.
It's almost like the air cannons, or like the stuff they use on vehicles to, Fast and the Furious shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just considering every possibility at this point, because sure, we can disrupt their operations, we can mess with their day-to-day business, but if we can't actually rid ourselves of the plants, it won't matter. They'll continue to spread.
I know. Sounds like we've been working on the same thing a little separately. Well, I'll see what I can get.
How are things going with your important task? Your task of redemption.
I mean, Virginia, Sander, pretty well.
That's not the
Going.
only one, isn't it?
No, I don't know about Juniper. Hopefully she seems to be a little more together than when she first came, so hoping things are going well, but we're still in that new state of a relationship that I don't think she's willing to completely open up about things, so
She's a hard nut to crack, that's for sure.
yeah.
Luckily, we have a nice Ragabash bond forming, so she's being a little bit more forthcoming.
Well, that's a relief. It's good to know.
Yeah. Aspen was saying there might be another one of you running around too. Apparently, Larry's been hearing a female voice at night. A very aggressive female voice.
Yeah, I think she said something about that, or she mentioned that. I guess that'll be something to see. I'm actually meeting Gorgon. Though it may be private, but
Well, you can ask her if it's her at least.
I could ask her.
You're never too much for me to take time for. I know you're looking at me and seeing me all stressed out here, but don't stop coming to me, asking for help, or that would be worse than if that'd be the worst thing I can imagine.
Will you let me help you if I offer?
I'll try. He hits a couple of buttons and the printer starts whirring. Then a moment later, he grabs a few pieces of paper and slides over to you. Here's the diagram for what I'm working with in terms of a disbursement container. You want to have the bikers see if they can make heads or tails of this. And here's the list of locations that I've narrowed down for the mountain range. But it's a bigger list than I'd like. I'm going to continue to try and narrow it down.
Okay. Just look at the cans, look to him. Don't push yourself too much. I know. I'm getting told that all the time, too.
You expect us to trust you, but you're not going to. Trust me that I'm not going to.
Okay. I will.
Well, I should probably get back to it.
Yeah. Also, call me when you're moving. You probably do want someone to move boxes.
Well, I can offer beer and pizza. Isn't that the usual going exchange rate right now?
Usually is for, yeah.
I don't know in this economy, but we'll make the best we can. I don't know if that's still the going rate in this economy.
I think it's still beer and pizza.
Okay, all right.
That's
Yeah,
my break.
I'll let you know when we're moving.
Okay. Good. I'll reach over and give him a hug.
He gives you a hug back.
You know, I'm an emoji text away if you need me.
Oh, I know. You're one of the only ones that is. Everyone else wants words and stuff or tries to ask me what they mean. Take care of yourself, okay?
You too.
You got a lot on your plate, and this is all a lot of busy work, but I'm here to hear you out and to listen.
I know. You know, the same goes for you.
He smiles and kind of watches you for a moment before sliding back over to the computer desk. He turns to the monitors and continues typing. You see that a couple more windows pop up with latest missing persons reports, which he seems to be screen capping and taking copies of. As you prepare to leave with some more information in tow, what's going through your mind?
Maybe it's because I came here with my mother on my mind because I was going to ask if he could check on her, at least to see if she wasn't brought here by Bateman, if Bateman knows that she's here, and just to check on her to make sure she's okay. But seeing the pills and his hand shaking and all the little signs, I didn't want to be the one to push him over. So I think I will have to find a different way to find out if she's all right.
With that, we transition to our next scene. Jace. Speaking of having a lot to deal with, you've had the Ratkin who have thoroughly moved into the space that you've started to make for them. Even before it was ready and done, they've been coming to hang out at the bar fairly regularly. You've got the changelings who you've shipped off some supplies to. And then you've got what's always been weighing at the back of your mind ever since you found out Michigan. The fate of your last pack. You've been asked to not go running off and do anything stupid. And so far, you've been pretty good about that, even though you've had a go bag ready. And every now and then you find yourself looking toward it and having to stuff down those feelings. But as the days pass and no word reaches you, you start to think maybe they're right. Maybe there is no one to find. Maybe they're gone. Boy, it'd be nice to know for sure. For sure. I mean, why would they know to come here? Why would they know to reach out? Maybe they're hurt. Maybe they're unable to use technology. Maybe they're hiding out. As the anxiety mounts, you go to one of the only other places you find peaceful besides the bar, which has become a little less peaceful with the ratkin around. The Cairn. And it's here that you find Eliza, who has been a mentor to you ever since you arrived. Different than the way Kat used to mentor you, but a mentor nonetheless. Almost like a grandma or a mother. As you arrive, you see her sitting in a lawn chair, just looking up at the stars. She has one of those reclining lawn chairs with the footrests. But as you approach, she looks over in your direction and gives you a smile. Jace, good to see you. You don't usually come by this late.
No, wanted to know what they were saying. Looks up the stars that she was looking at. Who better to ask what those guys be talking about than you?
They don't say much. They're quiet observers. But I can tell that they are paying extra attention to the goings-on here.
There's a lot going on.
There is. Especially for you.
You'll walk closer and sit down on the ground next to her. Trying to stay busy.
And what are you doing to stay busy?
Trying to do the whole theurge thing. He'll kind of point in the direction, that round table kind of gathering place. It's nearly done. I got a few more things I should probably add for more of the wily spirits that might show up, just to kind of keep them occupied. Still trying to figure out how to do that. Last one I ran into, he just kept pulling up the grass. So I need to find something to keep them busy, but still be able to engage with them.
I found that a lot of the spirits can be like toddlers sometime, and having raised a toddler myself, I know exactly what you're dealing with. Find items that appeal to the type of spirit you're trying to call. Some like the shiny things, other like certain stones or crystals. Some just want offerings of smoked meat. But you know all this already.
Yeah. But yeah, so got that going. My fun new neighbors are moved in, even though things aren't completely done yet, but they're there now. I got constant food truck and supplies going to Ravi. Did the whole gator thing. Busy.
How did you feel about one of your first away missions?
I don't like field work. It's different going and doing the talk to a spirit or there's a corruption somewhere. Easy enough. You want me to go in and sneak? Relatively. You want me to fight? I'm not the guy.
But it's in your nature. You have to appeal to all the sides of you.
I appeal to it. I just keep it off to the side and ignore it.
That's not how it works, my boy. I know you don't consider yourself a talented combatant. And not every situation's going to call for that. But it's in you. It's a part of you. If you don't see to the wolf grows agitated and restless. And it might cause you to do something foolish. Keeping all of our parts in balance. It's easier said than done sometimes. But you've been focusing a lot on the man. And yes, a lot on the spirit. But the wolf can't be ignored. Now, that's not to say you have to go picking a fight to appeal to the wolf. There are other ways.
If I went and picked a fight, a phone call would be needed first because I would end up picking the fight with the wrong person.
Quite likely.
Yeah.
Especially in the line of trade that you're in.
Yep, wrong guy.
Try going for a run sometime. Or joining Jester and Aspen on one of their hunts. It's not as dangerous, but it's helpful.
I'll consider it.
Well, that's a start. Meanwhile, I am in need of your spiritual talents.
I'm at your disposal. What do you need?
Well, we have a lot of new presences in the area, and that brings with them a whole mess of all that they've done in their past. What follows them. I've been seeing a lot of Bane activity closer to the Cairn than I would like. I've been hearing talk of it, that they're being drawn here. It's unsurprising, the call that these other Farah are hearing is not limited to them. But also, we have a lot of very intense personalities. It's our job as Theurges to try and clear up some of the mess.
Do we know what kind of Bane we're dealing with?
I wish it were just one. These
Great when they run in
emotions,
groups.
these emotions are drawing forth the Asclepians, the Rage Banes. And there's a bane of addiction that was seen nearby recently.
Those ones can be tricky.
Damn. We need to work on cleansing and warding the area as best as we can. This place, while it has its power and its strength, if that power is pressed upon, cracks are going to start to form. Openings are going to create themselves. If it's busy focusing defense over on one side, that leaves another side vulnerable. So we need to assist the spirits. We need to assist our guardians as best as we can, and not just rest on our laurels and trust them to take care of everything.
Yeah. How long ago was the most recent sighting outside the Cairn?
Say about 4 or 5 days ago now.
Should still be in the area then.
It's waiting for someone.
Do you know who?
I have a few guesses. But I don't want to bother them with it as they are working towards resolving the issue currently. But they are still vulnerable.
Okay. If you're available now, we can at least go over to the area, take a look. Maybe we can course it out.
Certainly. We can at least try our best, and with 2 of us, all the more likely the situation will be resolved. She reaches out to you for a hand as she tries to push herself up from the chair.
He stands up and reaches his hand out and gently pulls her up.
Before we do, I have to ask, is there anything you've been craving?
I drink coffee more than I probably should.
Would you say it's an unhealthy amount?
That's a matter of perspective. Are you asking as a person or like as a motherly figure? Because the answer will be different coming from you, depending on how you're looking at it.
I would say, why did they have to be mutually exclusive? How do you view me?
I could probably cut down on a shot a day, probably. 8, probably pushing it.
Well, just ready yourself for it to try and speak to that side of you. I don't think you're bordering on addiction, as I don't see you carrying a coffee cup right now. But be prepared, if we do encounter it, for it to start to weigh into that interest.
I'll keep it in mind.
Good. She goes into the RV, grabs a satchel, which she slings over her shoulder. Let's go then. She walks
Puts
out.
out his arm.
Oh, she takes your arm. And the two of you head out to the woods. As you reach further towards the edge into the bawn, she closes her eyes for a moment, takes a deep breath, and then opens them again. And the way she opens them, you can see that she is looking beyond.
I'll join her in it. I'll also look.
As you activate your senses, you see the photo negative of the Umbra passing over the vision of reality as you know it. The wild is strong here, but you've come to know that, having looked many times before. The trees grow taller. Their branches spread farther. You can even see or feel the presence of something watching, but not an antagonizing watching. More like watching over, protectively. As you continue to walk further out, that protective gaze lessens and lessens the further you get from the center of the cairn and the clearing. Eventually, you get close to the river. You can feel the energy of the spirits rushing through the river itself. Roll me a wits and occult.
Does my specialty in Banes affect this roll?
It does.
My rage still at 2, or am I back down to 1?
I would say down to 1. Mission solved. Everything's okay. You're not afflicted by your compulsion anymore.
Five.
Okay. As you look outwards across the river, you see that there is a low fog on the ground on the umbral side of things. The fog doesn't go more than above knee height, but it's very dense and wispy, curling in on itself. Following the path of the fog, trying to find its origin, you get to a point where you see that it is emanating, almost like erupting out of the center of a fissure, a crack in the ground. Breathe in, Eliza says, but not too deeply.
Take a shallow but deep breath.
As you inhale, there is a very strong taste of cigarette smoke, of the tang of coffee, of other kinds of herbal tastes on your tongue. And then a spicy taste, almost like a slight burning on your tongue. But it doesn't taste like any particular substance. It tastes like a feeling. A feeling of need. Not even want, need. Eliza looks to the fissure and kneels down next to it. She takes a deep breath before she gets all the way down to avoid the fog that she gets closer to. She reaches down and touches the ground near the fissure. It's rooting itself here.
And get down with her, placing his hands next to hers and digging his fingers into the soil itself.
Looks like it's dormant for the most part. These emanations are just a residual effect. If we're going to do anything about it, we have to find something to draw it out, something tempting. But also we'll have to do it on that side.
When I took that breath in, there was definitely some cigarette, some tangy bitterness of coffee, and some spicy. I don't know what that one was, but the draw for more of it is there though.
Trying to seek out what your preference is. But since you don't have any particularly strong desires or needs, it's going through the gamut, trying to find something that you would want. I had the same sensation, but mine was of tea and herbs. Maybe even ayahuasca.
Eliza,
But you're not a child.
we'll push those thoughts out, but you said we have to go to the other side to take care of this. Digging his hands and not making eye contact with her now. To draw it out, do you have anything to course it? To lure it?
Unfortunately, not currently. I don't think it's going to be a thing we need, but a person. Someone struggling. Someone that this particular spirit will find appetizing.
I don't know how I feel about using someone like that. I understand what you're saying, and it makes sense.
Either that or you try and create an addiction in yourself, but I wouldn't recommend that. We don't need more issues.
In the meantime, is there a way where we can make this fissure not get any bigger?
There are rites. There's a rite of cleansing. We can cleanse the ground. We can cleanse the place. That'll at least slow it, stop it, possibly even force it away.
Okay. Yeah. I've seen it done before.
Shall we?
Yeah. Let's do it.
She reaches into her satchel and she pulls out a container of ground salt, naturally ground with a mortar and pestle, put into a jar. She starts shaking the salt out, creating a small circle around where the fissure seems to be. She then lights several sticks of incense and puts them at various locations around the circle. She removes a copper bowl that she puts in the center and then pulls out a plastic water bottle. She opens it and pours the water into the bowl. This is going to be a combined effort. She steps into the circle, gesturing for you to do so. And she holds out her hands, palms up. Go ahead.
Before he steps in, he's going to take a few steps away and grab some clean soil, an area further from the fissure, and get a good handful of it. And then he'll walk over to her, clean soil to cleanse the area. That's what I think we did.
Good thinking.
And then he'll step in.
She holds out her hands, palms up to you. Let's take the dirt, put it upon our hands, and then clasp hands.
He rubs the dirt over the top of hers, dropping the remnants from his into hers.
She also rubs some of the dirt in her hands. And then taking your hands, she closes her eyes and takes several slow, steadying breaths. She then starts to chant in an unknown tone or language, but in a very rhythmic, repetitive pattern. It's very similar to the same chant she used when she was trying to purge the infection from your body. Not the exact words, not the same words, but the same language that she's speaking. As she takes your hands, go ahead and roll me first burn a willpower, and then roll me a wisdom. Let's go with occult, and you can take your specialty in Banes.
Five.
As you join her, you find yourself speaking the same chant, trying to intone the same words that she's using. But as she does so, and as you join her, you feel a tingling start in your palms from the dirt. You then see the water in the bowl start to heat up and bubble. You see the smoke from the incense start to entwine around. And then, as she gets to a climax or a fever pitch of her chanting, the incense starts to push outward as steam from the bowl starts to rise up. And as it does so, you can see that the fog that has been around your knees starts to dissipate and push outward away from the fissure. She then, using a foot, nudges the bowl, causing it to spill over onto the ground. And you can see that as it hits the fissure itself, it starts to seep into the cracks of the fissure. And in doing so, the cracks start to become more and more minimal, almost as if they're closing up. The incense creates almost a ring around you that starts to expand more and more, pushing away. And after several moments, it just comes with a whoosh, like a big dump of air comes down upon you and then sweeps out across the ground. Looking down at the ground where the fissure was, it's just sealed and earth now. The smoke or the fog that was on the ground has pushed further out, further away from the area, but it hasn't completely gone. It's become lighter and lower to the ground, maybe about ankle height, but it's still there. But at a good distance away, maybe 200-300 feet away.
He'll look down and then look outwards. At least it's further.
And it's less. We'll likely want to continue doing this at various spots around the Caern.
I agree. We'll have to let everyone know if they come across any of these areas to let us know. Let someone know. Not keep them to themselves.
But I believe we've done all we can for now. This is a good step in the right direction, but until the Bane itself is dealt with, this will be an ongoing struggle.
Time for a rude awakening. Got Eliza Ross here. Wrong Caern, buddy.
She chuckles. One day, this is going to be your job. You're going to have to teach the next generation. And you're going to have to tend to all these little nuances.
Yeah, I'm still in the learning stages. So if you could hold off on that, just, another 10, 15, 40 years. Sounds great.
Even if nothing were to happen, I'm not sure I've got 40 years.
Science is making great improvements on things. Who knows?
I don't think I'd want to be that frail out here doing all that.
Yeah, once you're on the ground, that'd be it. Like, there is no getting them.
Correct. She starts gathering up the supplies again, taking the burned NSAID sticks and sticking them into a small Ziploc baggie. She takes up the bowl, puts it back in her satchel.
Eliza.
Yes?
With the upcoming storm seasons rolling around, is there anything extra prep that we should be doing?
Well, fortunately, we're at the end of the storm season. It's coming to a close soon. I've already done the rite of the storm for this year to help ensure that it isn't treated with, but now we've got the cold seeping in. The cold from the north, the north wind, it's also going to need entreating with. It's a surprise sometimes that it makes it this far south, but it finds a way, and especially with Aiden, it's still going to be called here, at least in some small part. Perhaps you can assist me with that, but not today.
No, it's fair. Yeah, all the things that you can teach me, I'm wanting to learn.
There's a lot of it, but I'm happy to share it with you.
I think I'm an okay student.
You are a brilliant student, Jace. You are taking to this like a duck to water.
Okay. Thought you were gonna like bring up a rat pun or something, but I'll take a duck.
That's just too obvious.
I'm not sure how much you've been hanging out with different spears because they bring it up often. Like, hey, you're a rat. Like, thank you. Yes, I'm aware.
Don't limit yourself to your patron. It's a lot of who you are as a guru. But consider Rat an ally, not an identity. You are Guru. You are dreams in decay. You are not just a bone gnawer. You are not just a child of Rat. It's easy to forget these things, as they tend to claim us in their own ways, but as somebody who's detached themselves from all of that, I can see now the influence they tend to have. Don't forget, they have their own motivations in all this as well. And I'm not asking you to question your patron's motivations. I'm not trying to turn you one way or another, but just consider, be mindful. They have wants too. And those wants, those needs, those desires, they are their own. They don't necessarily come from Gaia. They don't come from this fight. And that goes for all spirits, not just Rat.
Nah, I'm hearing what you're saying. Wise words. I'll be careful on how to perceive those kind of things.
Good. Now, let's head back and brew ourselves some coffee.
Okay, let's do it.
Takes your arm. And the both of you head back towards the cairn. And as she prepares the coffee, what's going through your mind after this conversation and this task completed with Eliza?
Feels good to do a rite, especially with someone that is as experienced as Eliza. It's been a while since he's been able to partake in something like that. So that was a large confidence boost itself, but there is that concern of they are encroaching on the bond. And for some place as strong as this place is, to even get that close is a little concerning. Now that one fissure is pushed off, that doesn't mean there aren't others in the area. And with the part about not identifying with Rat being an ally and being as close to the Ratkin as he is, they're living basically with him. It's a reminder that he needs to keep his own identity and not get lost in the chaos of Rat.
So as you enjoy an evening with your mentor and friend, her regaling you with stories of previous encounters with banes of addiction and other kinds of events like those you've just witnessed, we transition to our final scene of the evening. Aspen, just like the others, you've had a lot on your plate, but your focus primarily has been on the upcoming assault on Piney Point. The slow rollout, the beginning efforts to try and weaken the corporation that has taken up residence at the Piney Point factory. One of those strategies is in your wheelhouse, a legal front. But of course, you are just one of the members of your law firm, and doing something like this could definitely draw a lot of attention. Luckily, you're not the only guru lawyer in town, not the only one who understands what you're trying to do. And so you go to seek out your partner, Anna Pelfrey, also known as Eyes of the Sea. So at the law firm, you find yourself in front of the door leading into her office. And after a gentle rap, she calls you in. Closing the door behind you, you go to sit at the desk. Aspen,
Anna?
what can I do for you?
Oh, so many things. But I guess I'll start with what I've been preparing for some time and wanted to obviously run past you since you are the other name on our sign out there.
Suppose that's more just a formality, but sure. How can I help?
I know you know as much as I've told you about Piney Point and everything that we've been dealing with. But I have, I guess you could say, a plan.
Go on.
I want to start a petition, and she'll slide papers over to Anna. I want to start a petition against high quality builders and against Piney Point for their environmental harm to the area with their invasive species because of their fertilizer. I already have someone willing to give a testimony of sorts to help with this petition to get the ball rolling as far as putting them on their back foot.
She takes up the papers that you've slid over and reads over them as you're speaking, and she clearly is multitasking and doing both very effectively, as a skilled lawyer has to do. This is good. This is a very good start. Company like high quality builders you could potentially draw out the forces behind them, but I will tell you their typical MO when brought this much attention is to cut ties and run, which in the short term can be very beneficial, but in the long term, it's just a stall tactic. They'll find another approach and they'll return. Now, I will say, these efforts from Piney Point are far more aggressive than Pentex is known to do. They prefer the long play, the slow play. Investing in mining companies or oil slowly bleed the planet dry. What is the goal of this? Are you trying to get them to cut ties and run? Are you trying to draw the attention of the company? What are you hoping for?
I'm hoping that, well, no matter how it goes, puts them on their back foot. I think, from what I understand, this Vanessa, this person that's been behind everything, hasn't been working directly in line with their company's thoughts and feelings, and maybe they know nothing at all. So having any attention to it is something that I'm hoping maybe her dealings come to light to them, which causes her own issues. I think also with the eyes on it, it'll cause obviously news and things of that to push their way through. And I'm hoping to speak with Matthias and see what I can get as far as a film crew or something that we have in our back pocket to facilitate that and make sure it doesn't get out of hand on our side, of course. But I would need to talk to him as well as talking to him about a few other things. But I'm hoping that will. She obviously doesn't want people looking into what she's doing. She doesn't want people there. She's made it very difficult for anyone like us to get there, to see, to be a part of it. But there's only so much you can do when the media eyes are on you. And that's going to make her nervous, make her potentially lack in other places.
It's true. I think there's also other eyes that you can bring to this situation, and a variety of them. One, obviously the environmental activist groups, leaking this information to them, making sure that they're a part of this petition. But also, if you can get a list of the places they're selling to, bringing those corporations under fire as well. Not with any kind of direct efforts, but if the environmental groups know the companies that this fertilizer is going to, they can put pressure on them through boycotts or other efforts. And if those companies are forced to draw out or pull back or have recalls on the product that they're receiving, that could bring other attention that isn't as directly focused on you and what you're doing.
I agree. I think that just having the petition put out, I'm going to have Jester get with people she knows, and hopefully Jace with some of his people, with his connections with his bar and such, to get it off the ground. And I'm confident that it'll get eyes on it pretty quickly with them helping.
Do you have any preventions in mind to keep others from going to investigate? We know the detrimental effect that this product has, and if you get too many true crime junior investigators sniffing around, you could just be creating more soldiers for them.
That is true. Do you have any suggestions as far as that?
Well, I think you can minimize the damage by stressing the danger, stressing the health concerns. The difficulty is that's a very fine line to walk without exposing the truth behind it all, the actual danger. Because then that's another set of eyes you could be drawing, and not a good kind.
I hope that with that potential out there, it is a risk to us, and we can brainstorm ways of quelling that as much as possible. But I think their company isn't going to want them exposed as well. So I think it's mutually beneficial for them to make it much more difficult for Mr. or Mrs. Vanessa in the grand scheme of things.
Possibly, but if it draws the wrong kind of attention, they're not going to stop with Piney Point. When they're brought to an area, they purge the area of all threats, anything that they deem worthy of their particular talents and skills. And at this time, something like that could easily go overlooked with all of the other distractions that are happening out there right now. So yes, while it could be mutually beneficial to draw something that is a threat to them, even though it poses a threat to us, you have to be mindful of how much of a threat it poses. And will it stop with them?
Then we push the fear. It's not really it's not something I like, fear mongering, but if it's to keep people safe and to keep the general populace from discovering or putting themselves in danger unknowingly, then it's something we should do.
Agreed. The other thing I would recommend is getting another expert, particularly someone in science, not in medicine. This expert that you have is perfectly good from a health perspective, but we need someone who can speak to the detrimental environmental impacts that this has, the invasive species, the issues in the long term, or the slow degrade this could have. Somebody who can speak to all of that could be very beneficial to this case, because they will have their own experts that claim to the contrary. So having more than one opinion would be good.
That actually is perfect, because I planned on speaking with Matthias about maybe getting connections within the university to help Artie with what he needs to be doing. I know he's been struggling, and Jester and Eliza, so potentially finding somebody within the university could be two birds, one stone, I guess you could say.
Absolutely. The more voices on this, the better. We would have to be aware that if Pentex chooses to side with this particular project, they will do anything they can to make those opposing and dissenting voices disappear. So anyone you bring into this, there's a risk posed to them, especially those that aren't aware of what's really going on. So I would take measures to, as best as you can without spreading yourself too thin, secure your experts. Keep an eye on them, make sure, because Pentex will put pressure on them. Even this Vanessa may try and put pressure on them of some variety.
That's a fair point. I can speak with Jester and see if she can get some of the bikers to keep an eye.
As soon as it becomes public, that's where it gets out of our control. And we need to try and control it as best as possible. It will likely work to our benefit, but these benefits have so many opportunities for consequence. Nothing comes free, as they like to say.
It's a big risk, I know, but it also, how long do we kind of skirt this issue until we fight it head on, right?
This is the best advance you have from our side of things at the moment. As for... Go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry. Continue.
As for other sides, if you were to interrupt their supply chains, again, that could be beneficial, but also it comes with the risk of exposure and infection, especially if they do get their hands on any of the tainted products. And if they don't know what to do with them or how to handle them, the risk increases dramatically. A lot of safeguards and precautions will be necessary if you want this to have as little damage done as possible to anyone else.
I understand. And hopefully, and this is all basing off of hope, really, in the grand scheme of things. Isn't that what we do most days? Hopefully, it gives us just enough of an opening to stop everything we need to stop before it gets out of hand.
I agree.
And that's why I was going to speak to Matthias about the professor to get us maybe a heads up on working through this problem with the fertilizer, and even considering talking to Spud and bringing him some iron and seeing what he can make of all of it. Potentially Potentially, maybe he has other ideas. Maybe he's got weird chemical things he can make. And I have one of the younger pups working on a weapon to fight this monster of a wolf plant situation.
I don't even know where to begin with all that. They are mocking us. But also they're putting us at risk. Visions of wolves, plant or otherwise, prowling the area, that's going to draw attention. So you need to move quickly on that, as quickly as possible.
Absolutely, not to mention the people going missing and the farmlands being destroyed. I mean, if we don't get on this now, somebody is, and it's not going to end well.
No. You have a good plan here. Keep going. Use what resources we have at our disposal. And yes, Matthias's resources are vast. I'm sure he can help you with that. I haven't spoken to him in quite some time, but I know how busy he is. Let me know if there's anything I can do.
I do have a bit of a part 2 of this plan as well. I was doing some research, and in finding out that the fertilizer is synthetic in nature, that means they would need a hazardous waste permit. With what they're doing there, they obviously haven't got it under legitimate means or legal means, because that would mean that somebody would have to go out to the facility to make sure that the hazardous waste area is secure and done correctly, which we all know hasn't happened. So we could tie them up in legal proceedings that way as well.
I think it's a good plan. Be prepared for them to have a response. A lot of these organizations, if they don't just blatantly ignore it, they think of or they bribe, put pressure on, or even insert their own people to speak on that behalf. But as a temporary entanglement, I think it's a really good idea.
Just long enough to keep them busy while we gain what we need to gain to stop this once and for all, and hopefully get her out of there and stop this all from happening.
I think the best thing you can do is slow the spread as best as possible. If we can stop their operations, that'll limit what they're doing to the immediate area, and then we can purge the infection and rid ourselves of them in the process.
I'm hoping having them in a legal battle will at least halt distribution for a time, and that'll give us some time to figure it out and make sure we aren't having more plants show up while we're getting rid of plants.
Agreed. This is really good work, Aspen.
Thank you.
Be careful who this petition goes to, who gets their hands on it, because this is a list of targets that you are tallying. Every name that becomes part of this is going to be on their hit list of those they want to infect, those they want to get to, those they want to rid themselves of. Fortunately, it's a risk you'll have to take, but just something to be mindful of.
Hoping to have some other, I guess, loosely use the word friends to keep an eye, to be a bit of a neighborhood watch for us, if you will.
Good. I think everything looks in order here so far. If there's anything I can do, don't hesitate to let me know.
I absolutely will, and I'll keep you informed of what's going on the, big tooth and claw side.
Yes. Excellent. She passes the papers back to you. She speaks with you a little bit more about the other business going on in the firm, the stuff, day-to-day stuff that's being handled, as well as some hirings and firings and all of the kind of law firm nonsense before the two of you part ways. What's going through your mind after this conversation with Anna Pelfrey?
That she feels good that she's got something started, something working, something that she can do, she can control, she has out there that she thinks will go well. There is a lot of risk to it, but if anything, this is what she's good at. This is what she fits in. Jace is good with the spirits, and Jester is good with her teeth and claws, which Aspen is not the best with, but she can do this. She's good at delegating, she's good at networking, and she's good at law. So she's going to keep focused on that and make sure that all of the pack's efforts are worth it. And that all of the things that they're doing right now is worth it in the end. And she'll make sure that that happens by any means necessary.
And with that, our story comes to a close, but not without one last scene. We find ourselves in the dawn of the Cairn. Up high in a tree, maybe 15, 20 feet off the ground. A haphazard tree house has been built high up in the tree, using as much rope as possible to avoid putting any nails in the tree. It's more of a balancing act at this point, a distribution of weight, holding it all together. Inside, we find the rocking form of Alexander, who sits holding his knees, rocking back and forth. His eyes are bloodshot and wide. His hair is a matted mess. They're coming. They're coming. Coming for us all. Nothing is going to stop them. It started with 3. Soon, the crown will crack. And that's where our story comes to a close. Thank you so much to these amazing players. Thank you to everybody watching at home. We do not have an episode of Hellhounds this week. We're taking Friday off, but come back next Tuesday for another episode of Rage Across Tampa, and the Hellhounds will resume shortly thereafter. Go follow St. Pete by Night on all of that social media you see down below, and follow that Discord link to join our community. And if you're interested in getting into the actual play game, you can do so. We are now looking and hosting auditions to find people that could potentially join the cast of Rage Across Tampa or Hellhounds, or maybe even a third program if we decide to start it within the Tampaverse. So follow all those links, like all the things, follow all the things, and we'll see you next week. Thank you so much, everybody, and have a good night.